It's not in your head. Every sign and symptom is real. It's real for you, and it is real. And we just work through it. So it doesn't matter if it's a twitch in your eye or a sore knee.
She went from a numb, broken body filled with fractures and meds to helping others heal when doctors gave up. It's Makeeta Hole, and she is a co-author with Mr. Pat Macedo with the book The Turning Point. And she didn't just survive chronic illness and burnout, she decoded it. And she has this Light Reboot method, which uses energy, frequency, and ancient medicine to reconnect people with their power. So if you need help to reignite your purpose, if you feel broken, if you feel like maybe you're just existing but not living, then this can be the perfect, ideal podcast conversation to listen to. We'll hear some stories, we'll solve some problems. Miss Makeeta Hole, how are you?
Thank you so much, Robert. Doing amazing. Thank you.
Glad to hear it. And what did I leave out of that introduction? What are you all about? What just has you so excited?
I love doing what I do. I'm passionate because I've been there, and I want to help other people get through what feels like they can't. I listen to my clients, and every sign and symptom literally tells us a story, and it's a piece to the puzzle that they may not have had before. I know for myself, I tried everything and desperate to find answers, and then realized it was just a mass of white noise, and I needed someone to decode it. And now that's what I do for people.
All right. Well, I'm eager to hear about the decoding because my understanding is you suffered all this emotional collapse, burnout, health problems. You solved it for yourself. Now you help others. So when someone comes to you, what does the before picture look like? What's the problem?
Often it's chronic illness, mentally, physically, emotionally, every other way, burnout. And they've tried everything. They've been to specialists, they've been to doctors. Usually they've got a list of medications. I ask them to bring them in, and, we have bags of medications that come in with them. And that's just where they're at. It's not that the medication doesn't work, but we need to find an answer instead of just putting Band-Aid upon Band-Aid upon Band-Aid. So yeah, they come desperate. They want answers. They haven't been heard. So often they're quite hesitant to come in and give something else a go. And it is different. That's why it works.
Okay, so they've tried everything else, and it's just been such an exercise in frustration. And they say, I'm seeking alternatives. I'm trying to figure out a different way to solve the problem and decode the mess, as we've been saying. And so what is that process like when they come to you for other ways to reconnect back to their power, get their life back? What do you do? What's the process?
So they just want answers, as I did when I first walked into a clinic. And the process is we listen. That's that, and it sounds so simple, but we really just listen. Listen to the story. It's not in your head. Every sign and symptom is real. It's real for you, and it is real. And we just work through it. So it doesn't matter if it's a twitch in your eye or a sore knee, or it just doesn't matter what it is. Every part is part of this puzzle. And so we start to put the puzzle together. And instead of looking at the symptoms, the things that are the loudest screamers, as I call them, we look at the core of the problem. We start to peel away the onion layers. We're all born, without all the different layers. And, as we have our first fall, our first trauma, our first breakdown, our first everything in life, these all become layers. And 20, 30 years down the track plus, we start to wonder, well, what's going on? Because things aren't working properly. Well, the thing that's going on is we have all of these layers now, and we're treating the top layer, not where it came from. So when we start to go back to that base layer, peeling them all off, clearing the white noise and the static from everything that's happened to us, we start to see a clear picture and we find the real person again. We don't force it. It happens. So we break it down, come back to simple. Within the first couple of hours of us working through and listening to what's going on for the person, we get a very, very clear picture of where it's come from, why it's happening. Back to basics.
Yeah, back to simplicity. As you said, we start off in life and we pile on the layers, and at a certain point, it just cannot sustain any longer. It's too much. But at the same time, I imagine how difficult it could be to make that step, right? It's so scary to open up to someone and to explain some of this. And I'm curious about when someone finally takes that leap and talks to you and has that conversation, is everyone completely different, or are there some recurring trends?
Yeah, good question. There are some recurring trends. People come in hesitant, as I did when I first walked in, because it's something else. And everyone says they can fix you. And is this just another gimmick? Is it another waste of my time? Are you just going to send me for tests? Like, what is this about? And so the commonality, I guess, is the hesitation of, is this actually going to work? And often with skepticism, and that's okay. You don't need to believe it for it to happen, because that's not what it's relying on. Your frequency doesn't lie. It is you. It's uniquely you. So there's some commonalities in that way, and then every other way you are completely unique, and that's okay. We get to your uniqueness, your story. And when I say your story, your health story, we don't have to know the ins and outs. You don't have to break down to reboot to find you and to find the health route for yourself, which is a good thing. We don't have to go back through it again. We've already been through it once. And so we just work with where you're at, and people find their way. I hope that answers your question.
It gives me a good idea, yes. And I'm curious about just what you've learned from your own experiences and helping others, like the surprises, the ahas. Is there anything in particular that's noteworthy as far as like just the solutions or the just the realizations you've had about what works?
Yeah, people aren't textbooks. So, people don't fit into the textbook diagnosis, diagnosis, not the list of symptoms. They don't necessarily fit one thing. They are a lot of things. They're a whole body. So when it gets complex, we go back to basics, and that truly is all it is. We go back to basics, break it down, and start working from there.
Go back to basics. Okay. And as far as you and the journey that you've been on going back to basics, like what do you have to share with us just about all these struggles that you have? Because you have this chapter in the book called The Turning Point. But just to give us like an idea, a tease here on the podcast, what has your journey been like?
It's been hectic. It's been intense. There has been a lot of doctors and specialists and pills and diagnoses. Just keep going, the list. I'm not that, though, and that's how I see my patients. They are not their diagnosis, and sometimes that's actually the scariest bit for people. What am I and who am I if I'm not all of this that I've been diagnosed with? Whatever that might be. And the biggest thing is that you're not broken. And it literally is just a matter of listening to what is going on for you right now, and what does that mean, and where do we start, instead of fixing the loudest screamer, the loudest thing that's going on for you right now. Let's have a look at the base of that and start there. So it's such a gentle therapy, and I think that was one of the biggest reliefs for me going through as a patient. And now that I can offer that to my people is it doesn't have to hurt more. It doesn't have to, you don't have to reopen everything. So the insight is, it is simple, which is a hard word to say when it feels so darn complex. And that's what you've been told. You're a difficult case. You're complex. It's too hard. We're not one thing. We're not one symptom. People often come in and say, "Well, just treat this. Just treat my knee, or just treat my my lower back." Well, that's kind of like if we had a cold and we went in and said, "Just fix my nose. Don't touch my cough. Don't treat anything else." We are a whole body, a whole person, and that's how we treat.
Right. It's all connected. And so is it my understanding that so Light Reboot, is this a technique or a framework, or what is it?
So it encompasses everything that we do, and that is a lot. So we work with your frequency. We look at the 5 elements. In Chinese medicine, which is what I was trained in, we look at Reiki, and we work through and picking out the tools that we need from the toolbox for you at the time. So it encompasses it all. And again, it's not one fits all. So we use all to fit everyone.
You have many tools in the toolbox. And so do you think there are maybe any misunderstandings out there when it comes to these things like Chinese medicine or Reiki? Like, what do people maybe hear about or misunderstand about it?
I think the biggest thing is that it's woo woo. And it's not woo woo. It is respectful, and it has a science base. So if we look at a metaphor for a moment, we all pick up a mobile phone. We can dial a number and it can reach someone overseas. We don't have a line that connects us, a physical line that connects us from our phone to the phone overseas. What we have is we've hit an exact number, read as an exact frequency, and we've reached that person. If we go one number left, one number right of these numbers, we reach something different. Well, that's exactly the same with us. So we all do that every day, and that's accepted. Well, this is the same. We just labeled it something different because it's not a textbook. It's not walking into a surgery and getting your normal. So yeah, that I would say that's the biggest misconception. It's not woo-woo. It's science-based, and it's amazing. And the thing is that it is uniquely you, and that's precise.
Just another technique or combination of techniques customized to the person and their problem. And when we think about the transformation and fixing the problem, there's always that concern that, well, I'll fix it and then I'll fall back into the same problem as before, right? I'll shed the layers and then slowly pile the layers back on. So do you have any advice for someone to stop from backsliding, or when they go and they fix themselves up and they get in a better state, to stay there and not just fall back into those old habits?
100%. So when we do our treatments, we press a reset button each time. We start with a reset button. And so what I mean by that is the loudest symptom, say you have a sore knee, is not, we don't go to the knee to treat that, although that is the thing that will feel relief. So we go back to, why do you have the sore knee? We look at that, and when that is gone, the reason that you have the sore knee means you're not going to get a returned sore knee, because we've actually looked at the cause. And that's the same as everything that we do. So there's not really a slide back. If there's anything, white noise can creep back in with life's happenings, and we just press the reset button on that. So clear the white noise that's happening now, the static that's happening now, so you get a clear channel back again. So it's not so much a slide back as a just press reset. And the more times we run that pattern from our brain to our body and our body to our brain, that track gets more well worn, and it's easier for the brain and the body to find again. So it works. It's a lot easier for the body to find it after 3 times of running that track than it is the very first time of us running the track with all the layers removed.
So press the reset button. It's awkward at first, but you repeat the process and it's better and easier. And I understand that you've been going through some even newer life changes, right? Like moving, and you put out this book. And what is ahead for you in your business and your life?
So getting back into doing what we're doing, and with even more tools in the toolbox. So we're now putting this under an umbrella. Instead of you just coming for acupuncture or coming for frequency treatment, we're now doing this with a coaching over the top. And I say that a little hesitantly because the word has been thrown around quite a lot. However, when I say that, we take you in and we do whatever you need at that point with all the tools that we have. So it's not, oh, well, we need to do this now and we need to do this now. No, we're going to look at you and we'll find what you need. And that's what we do. So instead of jumping from one to the other, it's a whole package. So that's where we're going. What I found is I was treating people in the clinic when I was doing acupuncture alone or Reiki alone, and they still had financial stuff going on, or they still had relationship stuff going on. And so then we were getting the return of these things because the static just kept building up. And so now we put the umbrella across and go, hey, what's causing the static now? And clear that. Let's clear that. So it's a full umbrella treatment, a whole body person, mind, body, spirit treatment.
Multiple techniques. And I'm sensing a pattern in our conversation here about how our problems are connected. And if you keep ignoring one part of it, then the problems will return. And that's why it can be helpful to go to someone like you who has this outside perspective and has these tools, because I mean, some problems we can solve on our own, but for sure not all of them. And we've been jumping around different topics, right? Giving us some awareness about the talk therapy and the Chinese medicine and the Reiki and what's possible. But since you're the star of the show here and we're talking about what you do, what do you think could be the missing question in our conversation? What do you think I should be asking you? I just don't know what to ask you.
Good question. Where do I start? Where do I start?
Where do we start? Yeah.
And am I broken? Can you fix me? I guess that's the question from the person. My biggest thing is you're not broken. You just have to clear the static and find a clear pathway back to you. It's all from you. You have the answers.
Okay, you have to clear the static, figure out the pathway, and sometimes ask for help, which can be scary, but what's even scarier is letting these problems run amok and letting them continue. And if you're listening or watching to this podcast and this has got your attention, then maybe you're saying, well, I need some new techniques, some new ways of going about it. And we're living in this information age where you don't have to be stuck in just one way of problem solving. You can do research, you can get help. And if someone out there says, hey, this really intrigues me, I'm interested in looking into more of this, how can someone find out more about you and perhaps contact you? What are some next steps?
Yeah, so lightreboot.com would be the best way to contact us. You can see, or at least start to see what we do and start a conversation. I could write 101 things on a page, but it's not going to tell you what we do. You let me know what you need at the moment, and then we can share what tools we have that might help. That's our best way. Start a conversation. The one thing that's probably the scariest when you've spoken to 101 specialists, 101 doctors, and it's just someone else. But starting a conversation and being heard, that's the best way.
Of course, avoid the cyclical thinking, the analysis paralysis. You have a real human-to-human conversation and see what the real problem is and see what the possibilities are. So we said lightreboot.com. That's LIGHTREBOOT.com. We've been speaking with Makeeta Hole, who is a co-author with Mr. Pat Macedo in the book called The Turning Point, Real Stories of Courage, Change, and Breakthrough. You can find out about that book at theturningpointbook.com to get an idea of what Makeeta Hole is like. She went from bedridden burnout to frequency healer, and she shows others how to reclaim their inner light. She's a frequency healer, light worker, and energy guide who helps people reclaim their energy and clarity after burnout, chronic illness, and emotional collapse. She's trained in acupuncture, Chinese medicine, Reiki, vibrational therapy, and remote healing, and now she is a coach embracing all for all areas unique to you. You can find out all about this at lightreboot.com. Miss Makeeta Hole, it's now time for the scary part of the podcast where I try to stump you, I try to put you on the spot by asking you about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Life's too serious to be serious.
I like it. Can you unpack that slightly? How's that served you?
Sometimes when it gets too complex and it feels like you are totally broken, there's nothing else left, you've got to see the light side of it. Quite literally. Life is too serious to be serious all the time. It's precious. Take every moment.
Very inspiring. Don't sweat the small stuff and seek out that positivity and optimism. And the next step to begin your personalized healing journey is by going to lightreboot.com. We've been speaking with frequency healer, light worker, and energy guide Makeeta Hole, co-author in the book The Turning Point with Pat Macedo. Makeeta Hole, it's been such a pleasure and an educational experience speaking with you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Robert. I truly appreciate chatting with you.